Yeah, Prophet Marchello, Currence here. So this video, man, is gonna be straight to the point. God is ending America because of the gang stalking. God is ending America because of this gang stalking. You know what I mean? And it's not a lot of people that have a lot of courage and a lot of faith to say it for how it needs to be said. I mean, the writing is on the wall for most prophets, for most true spiritual people, high-ranking spiritual people, but you ain't saying it like it need to be said. How it need to be said is God is ending this country because of this gang stalking. This is how far it went. This is how far it went, man. You know what I'm saying? I think people underestimated the repercussions of this, but God is ending America. I can't speak for nowhere else, but as far as this country go, it's a wrap. This is an absolute wrap. It's an absolute wrap, buddy. God is ending this country because of the gang stalking, and ain't nothing nobody can do about it at this point. That's why at this point, as God's true people, man, I'm tell you something. Even though you want money, like I want money, you want money, I want money. I want money too. So, but look at the situation. What's the odds they gonna give you some bread? What's the odds they gonna cut you a check? What's the odds somebody in America gonna give you some money? It's slim to none. They ain't gonna do nothing for you, because they gonna look at it like they doing this to everybody anyway. So why are we gonna single out this one person? I deserve to be singled out like that. I can show you things for why they should single me out like that and give me a check, no matter how many other people being gang stalked. And I say that respectfully, but they still ain't gonna do it. If they ain't gonna do it for me, how you need to hear it? How you need to hear it is, if they not gonna do it for me, how they gonna do it for you? I done been gang stalked in 4 different states: California, New York, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, and everything. How they gonna if I've been gang stalked in 4 major states, right? You've been gang stalked in one state, really. The average person. You've been gang stalked in your hometown, or maybe another state, because you left another state. But you ain't do 2 and 3. You ain't do 3 and 4, right? So you might have been gang stalked in one state, then you left and went to another one. That's the average person. The average person actually is the person that's just gang stalked in their own hometown. Next is the person that's being gang stalked in another state after they left. The other people are people that's being gang stalked in 3 and 4 different states. I'm one of them people. That's why I talk like I do. I don't talk like somebody ain't never left my hometown and I'm just kind of paranoid and I done got stagnated, you know what I'm saying, comfortable and just paranoid in my own hometown about things. I done left whole other cities where people didn't even know me. How it can't be real? How gang stalking is not real? I done went to a whole other place where nobody know me. You can see the same familiarity of gang stalking. You can see the same energy of gang stalking. So man, God is ending the community. God is shutting down the systems, and that's the punchline. See, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. This the only case I'm a rabbit, when I got the gun. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Running around gang stalking people, and listen, here's the repercussions. America's gone. So whatever they thought these lames thought they was gonna do, whatever these suckers thought they was gonna do, they ain't doing nothing. These systems are gonna be shut down. This country's gonna be shut down. That's it. That's it. That's all, folks. Okay. So for God's true people, man, you just gotta get ready. You gotta get ready for it. Get ready for it. Get ready for the end. Because these systems, God decided, I'm telling you as his prophet, God has decided to shut this thing down. Okay, so we don't focus on gang stalkers no more. We're just waiting for the end. We're trying to get people together. If you are true Christians, you're trying to evangelize as many people as you can. You're trying to get many souls as you can. That's where you at. That's where you at, really. You're trying to get as many souls as you can. You're trying to talk to many people as you can. You're going out of your comfort zone and talking to people online about the Lord and trying to encourage people to serve the Lord properly. And you making sure you take an inventory of yourself spiritually. That's where you at. You know, and but we ain't focused on no gang stalkers like that. So you'll get tricked. Listen to my messages. I'm just preparing God's people. I'm just preparing. This is an elephant in the room. Everybody's being gang stalked. So how can I not talk about it, even though I'm a Christian? That's what I'm trying to show some of these people. They get on my page talking about, oh man, you're supposed to be just preaching about God and preaching and rebuking these demons, preaching about God. Bro, you gotta be a young Christian, and I say that respectfully. You gotta be, because if it's a geographical situation where everybody's being gang stalked, even Christians, how you ain't gonna address that? You should be glad somebody addressed that. That's a Christian, because they're gonna address it from a spiritual perspective. You should be glad I'm addressing it. It's the best type of people to address this stuff. Right or wrong. Okay then. So everybody being gang stalked, Christian talks about it. It's the best situation. So you wouldn't notice if you was listening to these other people, you wouldn't know. It is the end because of the gang stalking. Now, how you gonna find that information from these people that's not Christians? You ain't gonna. They ain't gonna be able to tell you like that with confidence. I'm telling you like this with confidence. This is the end of these systems. This is the end of America for gang stalking Christians. For gang stalking Christians first. They gang stalk God's people. They gang stalk churches of people, preachers. All these famous preachers got gang stalked. Pay attention. Those who are veterans in being gang stalked, you can see the signs when people are being gang stalked. You know it when you see it. I can look at people's videos and I can see the traffic in the videos behind people, and I know you're being gang stalked. I can hear kids in the background while you're trying to be out in the park doing a video, and I know you're being gang stalked. I can see people walking through your videos and you're being gang stalked. Many of these Christians are being gang stalked. YouTubers that got a following, you Christians that got a following, they gang stalking you. And God's response was to shut down the community. His response was to shut down the systems. And that's the punchline. They thought that this world would go on and they could do what they want to do, and nothing would happen to them. And we're just human beings, and who do we think we are? It's not us that think we're someone special. It's them. We might listen. They're the antagonists, right? They bothered us. They came playing with us. So how we think we special? Why you need to ask us who we think we are? You came to us. Make it make sense, bro. We need to ask you, who do you think you are? I tell you who you're not. You're not people that's going any further. That's who you are. You're not going any further. This is all over. God is shutting down the systems. So what I want you to do is sharpen your sight and your mind, right? Sharpen your spirit to what I just said, right? Like a TV. You remember back in the day when you could sharpen the TV? You could sharpen how the image of the TV. Sharpen the image of what I just said. This is all over. It's been over since COVID-19, if you want to know. Listen, they gang stalked us before COVID-19. Now you see, this is the response. When people thought God didn't do anything, they gang stalking, and everything, and all this stuff is happening. You missed it because you're not spiritual. This is why spiritual people, now you see why we're needed to talk about this gang stalker, because everybody being gang stalked, right? Now you see why spiritual people are needed, because we're going to point to the spiritual repercussions. We're going to point to what God is doing in this situation and how somebody else going to do it. It's no hope listening to some people. All they talking about is gang stalking over and over again. I'm showing you what's happening. I'm showing you what God is doing. I'm showing you God involved in this situation. Can you imagine listening to somebody that ain't talking about God in this situation with gang stalking? I couldn't even listen. I gather information from them, but I have to listen to people that incorporate the Almighty's position in this situation. Does that make sense? You got to incorporate the Almighty, His position in this situation. That's what's going to be a comfort to you. That's what's going to make you feel relaxed while you're eating. That's what's going to make you feel good while you're chilling in your bed under the AC. You're going to realize God has been doing something all along. Listen, COVID-19 was a repercussion from gang stalking. Gang stalking became a catalyst. Go look up the term catalyst. I think it's like the second definition in this context. Gang stalking was a catalyst to the end of America. That's what triggered it was a triggering catalyst that ended this country. It ended this country. And the more they do, the quicker it's going to happen. So rest assured, if you're a targeted individual, here's the hope. You need to repent and come to Jesus Christ and serve Jesus Christ and wait for His return, because it's all over for America, for gang stalking. Since COVID-19 was a plague from God that He allowed. He either sent it or He allowed it. This is why nobody could rebuke it. This is why Christians couldn't get rid of it. It was a plague to the Americans. And like I said before, if in a perfect world, I wish it didn't happen to any other country. That's my real heart. But for the Americans, it had to happen. All this gang stalk, the same stuff we talking about right now. You see why I feel the way I feel? It had to happen to them. And listen, they was not smart enough to sit down after the COVID-19, after the coronavirus. They was not smart enough to sit down. So God looks at your heart, right? He look at your heart. You couldn't sit down after you seen all these people dying. You seen all this virus, and you still was crazy enough to come out here and play with my people. You was still crazy enough to come out here and play around the community. You was still crazy enough to ride around. Even now, you're still, after all that happened with COVID-19, you still crazy enough to be playing around with people. And God is looking at the heart posture. Why in the church, the Christian church, the American Christian church, there's a new term, the heart posture. God is looking at the heart posture of the Americans. That's outside of His kingdom. That's not Christians. And after they gang stalked, after COVID, when they seen all these people dying, you still can bring yourself to gang stalking. That's why God decided to make the next step. That was the warning shot. The plan was for them to sit down, have several seats. When they seen even their the kids didn't even go to school. Everything, society was shut down. Let us remember COVID. Society was shut down. Restaurants, small mom and pop restaurants, shut down forever. Didn't come back. Some small businesses didn't never come back after COVID. Let's keep that in mind. A lot of businesses did not weather COVID. A lot of people didn't weather COVID. A lot of people lost loved ones. And there's still roughly 143 people dying every week from COVID-19. You can go look online. Go Google how many people died from COVID in America every week. It's still, the bottom line is whether it's a 143 for a month or 143 for a week. I think it's a week, right? The bottom line is people still dying from COVID. And those people are loved, whether they're old or not. Some people say they're old. Okay, the more older they get, the more loved they are by society and their family. Who want to lose their grandmother to COVID? Who want to lose their auntie? That's a milestone that, that's a great pillar. A pillar is the word I'm looking for. Who want to lose their grandmother? And she was a great pillar in the family. Their aunt, that's a great pillar in the family to COVID. So it's still a great loss. It's devastating losses that's happening right now. You know what I'm saying, with COVID-19. And like I said, I wish that it wouldn't have happened to no other country but America. In a perfect world. So if the rest of the world really understood that America is the reason why all of this happened, you should have guessed that, man. Look at them. They sinful. They do everything crazy. They crazy. They brought repercussions on the rest of the world. Okay? That's what happened. They brought repercussions on all of us as humanity. That's what should make you angry. Is that America, through gang stalking, allowing this gang stalking, it caused COVID-19 to ravage the whole community of America, of the whole world. All of humanity had to go through this. See, if people are really intuitive, they're gonna understand this by listening to the prophet. I'm telling you, I put this on my credibility. America was the catalyst that started COVID-19 in the whole world. They're the reason why. Spiritually speaking, based on karma, based on what they was doing, they was the reason why all of this happened. These Americans. So see, now, for targeted individuals, you don't doubt God. You realize you get on the real timeline of what God is doing. You get on the real timeline of what God is actually doing. This was his response to the gang stalkers. COVID-19. We've been on top as God's kingdom since 2020. 6 years later, we still here. We're still going hard. We've been on top since 2020. It's our time now. They gang stalked us before COVID-19. Years and years and years, many of you was gang stalked before COVID. Okay? You was gang stalked weeks and weeks and months and days before COVID came. This is God's response to COVID. Was COVID-19. This was God's response to gang stalking. COVID-19. That was the response for gang stalking. See, so now you're on God's timeline of what he's doing and how he's doing things. You're not thinking God ain't doing nothing. Now you see, God is good. Now you get it. All this bad weather, all this stuff going on, all these killings, all plagues from God on the Americans. God is shutting down this system. Now you see what I'm saying? Instead of thinking, oh, well, won't God do something about this? God is making it happen. He's allowing this weather. He's allowing all this death and all this stuff to happen. You didn't switch your mind and turn your mind to a 180, right? To where you now realize that God is against America and his wrath is against America. Now you see everything that happens differently, spiritually, to where you're not saying, well, God wants you to do something. You ain't saying that. You realize God is doing something. He's doing all this stuff. He's allowing it to happen. Now you see where it's at. Now you get encouraged. Listen, you can say it's sick. You can say whatever you want. But now you're getting encouraged when you see all this stuff happen to these Americans. Now you see the same people that gang stalked you, they helped. The Americans helped them. They helped gang stalk you. So now you're getting encouraged. You're getting encouraged when you see all this stuff happening to the Americans. See, long as you like that and you look at the news, me as a prophet, I'm always looking at the news to look at look for what God is doing to the Americans. If you want to walk in the fresh, innovative, spiritually innovative lane, the fresh, spiritually innovative lane, it is constantly checking the news every hour, seeing what God is doing to the Americans. That's the real energy we got going on here. Okay? That's where it's at, and it's not going to change. God is shutting down this system. God is shutting down America. God is going to shut down the systems. That's why you see stuff happening with the food, with the cattle. The cows is the lowest it's been since 1951. The amount of cattle in terms of cows, right, for beef, that they have the lowest number of beef since 1951. You telling me that's a coincidence? No, it's not. God shutting down the food systems. You're going to see more stuff happen, more plagues happen on the food systems. The water systems is in trouble. The water is drying up. You can go look for it. You can go look. We playing our spiritual position. That's what we're doing. Electricity is tripping. All this stuff is going on. Look at the three things that I'm talking about: food, water, and electricity. Go look at the stuff that's happening to the food in America, the water in America, and the electricity in America. You can go Google it. Get these things on your mind. Go do your own research. You know what I mean? Your own way. Go. That's why I always reference people to do this and do that. After these videos, go do these things. Go put your mindset in the way I'm talking. Put your mindset in the way that I am talking. Go look up the food, the shortages in food, the shortages in water, the shortages in electricity, this stuff going on, people without power. You know what I'm saying? Look all of that. The weather, all this stuff happening. All the weather, all of that stuff is happening on purpose, man. This is where it's at. It's not going to get, that's why, it's not going to get any better. God is shutting down the systems. He's shutting down, the systems mean, you might think the government, like the courthouse. I'm not talking about the courthouse only. God is shutting down food, water, and electricity. He's shutting down these systems of America. What they survive off of, what they thrive off of, that's going to be shut down. And the result of it is because of the gang stalking. Hey, I don't feel like it's a game. I don't think it's a game. It's the repercussions for playing games, for out here gang stalking. I don't think it's a goofy game and I'm laughing hysterically. You know what I'm saying? That's not my consistent behavior. You know what I'm saying? Nothing is a game. That's how I look at it. Life is not a game. That's my consistent behavior. Life is not no game. Life ain't no bit of no darn game. And that's what they finding out the hard way, bro. It ain't no game out here. Ain't no games being played. And God ain't playing no games. They came out here gang stalking and this is what they got. This is what they got, man. You know what I'm saying? See, now they feel stupid. They thought they got away with it. They ain't get away with nothing. All this stuff that's happening, I want you to change your mind tonight, this morning. Change your mind this morning. This is not from the devil. See, a simple person will think everything that's negative happens from the devil. A spiritual person that's intelligent will realize some of this stuff is happening because of wrath from God for the stuff that the Americans was doing, including gang stalking. And that's how you got to start looking at everything. More than anything else, you got to start looking at it like that. That's how you got to start looking at it, man. That's how you got to start looking at it. You know what I'm saying? All these systems, I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you to prepare yourself. Start adjusting to this, what I'm telling you. These systems are not going to last under all that they done in gang stalking. All this stuff they did in gang stalking ended America. That's the punchline. They thought they got away with it. They thought they got away with it and they didn't. I'm telling you. They thought they got away with it and they didn't. And this is why all this stuff is happening. Okay? You know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. They had their fun. They even said it. We had fun. Listen, if you are a spiritual person, you have heard telepaths in the spiritual world say they had fun. We had fun. After all that was done to us, all the gang stalking, they said they had fun. Can you imagine what God is doing to these people? That's why you got to just let it happen. Just let it happen. Just let this happen. It's going to happen anyway. But I'm just saying, put yourself in the right position to where you're not sympathizing. Read Jeremiah 11, the 11th chapter, the 14th verse, where God says, Jeremiah, stop praying for these people. Stop crying for these people. And when they come to me in times of trouble, I will not listen. This is what God said. See, you can't be above God's perspective. And as a person of love, when you're above God's perspective, it ain't gonna work anyway. But you got some type of American Christians that think in the terms where it don't even add up according to reality. These people are just love. God does not even move like that. No. God told Jeremiah, stop praying for these people. And stop crying for them, stop praying for them. And when they come to me, I am not going to listen. That's what God told Jeremiah. See, I be paying attention. I'm going to do a whole video about this. It's about paying attention to the moves of God, the mentality, the perspective of God, how God is, the nature of God. Once you understand the nature of God, you ain't going to think it's all love, love, love all the time. It's not. When you understand what God does in his word, you're going to say, okay, right here in Jeremiah, the 11th chapter, the 14th verse, the nature of God is whatever them people did. God said, stop, Jeremiah, stop praying for him. And don't cry for him. That means don't even have no compassion. Don't even let your heart be touched by what they going through. See, some of y'all ain't on that level. See, your heart is always going to be touched by what these people going through. God going to tell you, listen, if you his true people, stop praying for them. And when they go through stuff, stop crying for them people. Stop crying for them. And when they come to me, in their times of trouble, I am not going to listen. That's how I'm like, listen, man, you need to start listening to people that's in the spirit, that's living righteous, that's fasting, that's abstaining from the culture, that's abstaining from sin, that's abstaining. That's who you need to listen to. Everybody else is blind to the facts. Blind to the facts, blind to what's going on. It ain't no way we can change it. It's too far gone, man. Like, even if you try to give me some money or whatever, man, at this point today, you know what I'm saying, August, 24th, 2026, man, it's just too far gone anyway, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just too far gone because you done this to so many people. I'm just being real. It's just not gonna change. I can't predict the future. I can't say that God won't give you grace for helping me, but the odds are you're not going to do that anyway. But I can't say God won't give you grace for helping me. I'll leave it at that. But these systems have to be shut down ultimately. It's ultimately going to happen. It's inevitable. You can see the mentality of the people. You can see how they think. It's inevitable, man. So I want God's people to prepare. Just prepare your soul, prepare your mind, prepare your heart, prepare your spirit, because this is not going to change. No, it's not. If you're waiting for things to get back to normal, it's not going to happen. Nothing's getting back to normal. There is no back to normal. Everything you see on the news is because they are the enemy of the kingdom of God. They've been secretly, if you don't know, if you're a targeted individual, they've been secretly gang stalking God's people. They've been secretly gang stalking preachers, famous preachers, anybody with any notoriety. If you got a YouTube page and you reach out to people, they gang stalking you. They're gang stalking every famous preacher, anybody that's out here talking to people that's a Christian. They gang stalking all of them people. They got a nationwide network, and that's what they're doing. God is shutting down the systems of America as a result. That's what I'm trying to show you. So for God's true people, salute. Over and out.